We'll get to the boring of it in a second, but let's put that to one side because, obviously, I don't want to have a conversation about how boring something is because that is a boring conversation in and of itself. But of what you saw, apparently that panel, by the way, host not included in Alison Langdon, 2-1 said Dutton won the debate. Try and work out who the breakdown was. Chris, your thoughts of Peter Dutton and Anthony Albanese?
Look, I agree with you that it was a bit too boring. There's no doubt that Peter Dutton tried to go the biff. He tried to attack Anthony Albanese. I think he's got to go harder. Sure, we know you're appealing to swinging voters and they might not like the aggressive politics and the like, but you've kind of got one shot in the locker here. He's running out of time. And Albo is telling lies. Albo is running a false campaign about $600 billion nuclear plants and fanciful cuts to Medicare and the like. You've got to call him out. But you've got to do it hard enough so that you put Albo on the back foot. And he didn't really embarrass Albo tonight. It was too comfortable for him, partly because of some of the things you said about the questioning and breaking up the flow. I thought the biggest harm that Albo suffered tonight was at his own hand, and it was from that question from Phil Coorey. And this is a bloke who said, I'm going to lower your cost of living, I'm going to lower your mortgages, I'm going to lower interest rates, I'm going to lower your electricity prices. Yeah. And the best he could say this time, he says, well, I want everyone to be better off in 3 years' time. Well, bang. That shows how you've blown your promises and you haven't got the balls to promise it again because you know no one will believe you.
Well, funnily enough, here it is.
Are you prepared to repeat that pledge that in another 3 years' time?
Oh, we certainly want people to be better off in 3 years' time, and that is what it's about.
That's his promise, right?
Yeah.
We all want to be better off, mate. It's supposed to be your job to do something about it.
All right, Joe, greatest performance of the greatest Prime Minister of all time. No doubt the signal messages between yourself, Anthony Albanese and Pete Hegseth are going to show that.
None whatsoever. We just communicate telepathically.
Right.
I thought it was actually Dutton's strongest debate performance to date, but again, unfortunately, and Dutton has been very star-crossed in this election campaign. He's had a lot of bad luck. There's been a lot of own goals and, grenades dropped at his feet as well. But he has had bad luck, and I think this was the most boring debate of the three we've had so far, but it was also the one that Dutton actually did the best at. I actually thought him taking the PM on bulk billing rates was stronger than 100%. Arguing over whether they did or didn't cut the budget.
And the best thing about a boring debate is people turn off, right? So, and that was front loaded. That was first 5 minutes.
That's right. Yeah, I found it really. I was sort of doing the cryptic crossword on the side sort of thing. So I thought it was sort of about a draw probably because I think the PM is just so sort of match fit at this sort of stuff, and he does it by just throwing a kind of fire blanket on everything he gets asked, and and the way he answers, for example, Phil Coorey, and I'm with you on Phil Coorey. I think he's one of the best journos around.
Agreed.
But the way he basically,
of course you do, because he's the one who voted for Albo.
The
one who says that he won.
But also the
other two said it was Dutton.
But also the one that was toughest on him as well, which I think speaks to his integrity and intelligence. But again, he says, will you say this thing that you said last time? And Albo, I call it tactical obfuscation. Pretends that it's not a lie. It's tactical obfuscation.
Specificity there.
Albo, you answer the question. You answer as though what you said last time was that you wanted people to be better off, and there is no thing. But I think just the fact that pre-polls are already open, the fact that the campaign, I think the campaign is kind of a bit run and done.
Well, so to this point, right? So tonight we learned from the Australian Electoral Commission more than 500,000 people have voted on day one. Now, I think we're going to see massive numbers because we're in this sort of grey week right now where collection of people may well just have these 3 days off because of public holidays on either side. Also, I think that for, let's be honest, those that have already made up their minds, so let's say that's 60, 70%, they just want to get it banked and done, right? Yep. I say, and I've said this to the viewers of this program, go and vote tomorrow, right? Go and vote tomorrow. I'll go through all the reasons why I think what that vote should be. But I just say go and bank it, right? Because it's not like a postal vote where, maybe 3 days later. No. If you vote tomorrow, it's counted on the night, all right? We're going to see it as part of the result, and it just means the focus of the conversation becomes the truly undecideds, rather than people who just want the ritual. Here's the thing. It's not illegal on election day to go to multiple schools and get their democracy sausages, all right? Like just to check what the posters are like. You don't have to go and actually vote. But what does it say that 500,000 have done it on day one?
I don't like this, and I'd like to officially announce tonight that from now on, after today's events, everybody on air at Sky News is going to be voting pre-poll at Kooyong and trying to get a chat with Monique Ryan on the way in to the absentee vote.
What about that?
This is the woman's
This is the. I was thinking about that. Apart from a disgraceful way to treat a great person in Laura Jose, who we all know and love around here, right? But what about? I mean, it's a little instinct, right, into this rather imperious manner that many of the Teals have, right? Which is, look, I'm involved in the democratic process. You're interrupting. There wasn't a single voter in the queue. Like literally. That was that lovely accidental moment. No one is there.
No, you misinterpreted. Not only was she standing there imperiously, she was thinking about how her husband's at orders under home not to steal any more posters. That was her contribution to the Democrat. Now, anyway, back to your point, though. The reason people vote early, sure, you've made up your mind, so you want to get it out of the way. And look, it's handy, especially if you're elderly or sick. You want to go when there's not big crowds and whatever. But I love the big day. And I think about what could unfold that could change people's minds. And I suppose, as you say, if you're undecided, you wait till then. But
I'm saying the hardcores, right? The ones who knew 4 years ago what they were going to do at this election, then go and bank it. I like the ritual, and the problem that I have with everyone not voting at the same time is we have so few things that are genuine collective experiences anymore. The idea of everyone on a single day, in the same way that the census isn't over a 2-week period. It's okay, on this day, tonight, what's going on? It's on this day, what? So I agree, but I'm just saying that it is a process that no one seemingly wants to unwind, but also it speaks to what I have been talking about for certainly during this campaign. You have too, of course, boys, which is you needed to front load your message. The idea that you could crest at the end is so old school, right? Which is why Albanese decided to promise the billions of dollars from January, right? From January, he's been banging on with the 40-something, almost $50 billion, right? Yep. It's why the Libs, when they started to wobble a bit after that first parliamentary week and it was all about lunches, they should have had the attack ads straight out and hitting hard. Yep. And I think that the hardest hit on Albo should have been, and I think one of the great creative devices around modern elections was in 2007 when the leaders were responding to the other leaders' ads, right? Literally turn around and say, Albo's lying about ding, 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 stop the lies. Because then it shows what a red line and you're not willing to do, and then it sets an expectations in the questions the media have to answer. Instead, a little too slow, and the assumption was we're waiting, and then the election's off for 2 weeks, and all of that has helped give the Prime Minister this soft campaign for a while, which is why I think there's that certain feeling to get in there. One more on the debate, though. Can we show that again, that question from Deborah Knight from 9 Radio, 2GB principally, where she's the Money News host, where she asked the question of Peter Dutton that I think is designed, frankly, to trip him up and also to editorialise to say, I don't like him. That said, she said that he won the debate.
Mr Dutton, we don't see a lot of your softer side. Do you think that your time as a police officer led you to have a black and white view of the world?
Now, the rapid response teams, Labor Party, this is Richard Miles doing his bit to be Deputy Prime Minister because, of course, those free flights, well, they don't pay for themselves. Oh, that's right, they do.
Well, tonight I think we saw the most significant contrast between the two leaders. We had a Prime Minister who was calm and considered in the way he responded, and we had an opposition leader who was aggro and increasingly looks desperate.
Bull.